Welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We're here to plug you into the world of professional wrestling. I'm Crust and I'm here with Fisher.
Hello, guys.
And today we're doing something slightly different. We are doing a WWE only review. So that's going to be Raw, Smackdown and NXT. Keep an eye out over the next couple of days. Fisher's going to be doing his AEW review covering Rampage and Dynamite. Check out his other video, a review of Double or Nothing, which was brilliant. And just a quick note, guys, please, if you haven't already, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. It really does encourage us to keep making great content for you. So we don't actually have any news today, which they say.
Fax Fisher's taken a week off.
Yeah. Fax Fisher's been firing out too much content. There's no news. But as they say, no news is good news. It's been quite hot as of late with
the
wrestling.
last couple of weeks.
So yeah, nice to not have anything too negative to report on. So we're going to start really with SmackDown. So Fisher, take it away.
Right, yeah. So the first thing I'll talk about then from SmackDown, let's start with the main event. So that was the 6-man tag team match, which we speculated last week. I think it was just me and you last Thursday, actually.
It was,
be
the dream team.
Who would be the New Day's partner? And I was kind of convinced it would be Drew.
Yeah, you were right.
And that turned out to be the case. Because I didn't think they'd be debuting anyone here.
It's all right. It's good. It makes sense, but it also is a little bit disappointing, isn't it? For me, anyway.
Yeah, I get it.
It's Drew. Okay.
Yeah. So they had the 6-man tag team match against the Brawling Brutes, as they're known now, I believe.
The Brawling Brutes.
Yeah, that's their official name. So yeah, this match was decent enough, wasn't it, for a SmackDown sort of fun main event. Drew got slammed into the steps at one point. There was an Alabama slam from Sheamus, and then it really picked up pace and it felt like bodies were flying everywhere. The New Day would dive into the outside, and then Drew McIntyre hit a headbutt and a claymore onto Ridge Holland, tagged in Xavier Woods, and he hit his elbow drop to get the pin and the win. What did you make of the match?
Well, at least they didn't pin Butch, was one good
I
thing.
think Ridge should be the guy in that group that I know he's bigger, but for me, he's got the least value out of the three, because Sheamus is the biggest, most known person out of the group, really.
He's a star, isn't he? Yeah.
And for me, Butch has got the potential and the interest and the fan base, whereas Ridge Holland doesn't really have that. No. So I feel like if they're gonna lose, he should be not always the guy to take the pin, but more often than not should be the guy.
Well, especially after Butch being rolled up 3 weeks in a row, was it something like that? So
yeah, because that was my skid mark last week. I did see some online criticism afterwards for Drew dancing with the New Day. I did want to say, actually, this SmackDown was more like Strictly Come Dancing at points, because there was quite a bit of it on the show.
Well, it was. I actually much preferred the other dancing. I must say, we can go on to that.
But to be honest, Drew dancing doesn't do any damage to his character or anything. He was just having a bit of fun. To me, it doesn't really matter.
I suppose at the moment it's okay. I think if he was into the feud with Roman like properly, I think it would be silly, because he needs to look really strong and powerful.
I think he was just having fun with a New Day here, like Big E would, like Big E used to do. I don't think there was anything more to it. To be honest, if he was doing it every week, I'd have a problem with it. But
as a one-off,
as a one-off thing, I don't really have a problem with him after teaming with the New Day. But yeah, I thought that match was a good SmackDown main event.
Something different, at least.
Yeah. One of the main things on the show that was very interesting, I thought actually was not quite my top mark, but something I really enjoyed, was the Kevin Owens show with Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
And the whole relationship afterwards with Sami Zayn and the Usos on this show is really, really good stuff, I think.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
But KO and Sami together are just so good.
Yeah.
And this segment didn't really have that much of a purpose.
No.
But they're so good that they just make it work.
Well, do you think it didn't quite have a purpose? Because I wonder, watching them at the end, are we getting another Sami Zayn versus KO feud?
That is a possibility, but I don't think so. I think there might, if there is a purpose, I actually think it's almost the opposite of that. And so Sami Zayn is going to get screwed over by the Usos, right? Because they keep stringing him along, and then KO is going to save him, and you can do a tag team title match of KO and Sami Zayn versus.
That's a good idea. Do you think they would turn face for that?
I think so. Yeah, I think if Sami Zayn keeps getting screwed over, and then you kind of have sympathy would grow for him, he would turn face. Kevin Owens
That'd
could
be a
turn
great
face.
new tag team, to be fair, and it gives Kevin Owens something to do.
That's
You
the
could put
one
gold
thing
on him.
Yeah, that's the one thing neither of them have done in WWE yet, is team up as a proper tag team and have a tag title run.
Really,
They've both had. I mean,
yeah,
KO's had. I spoke about it last week. I think it's six years since he's had the title. He's had every other title. He's had the Universal. He's had the Intercontinental, the US, but he's never had a tag team title run. And Sami Zayn and KO as a tag team would be brilliant.
Definitely.
So I think maybe like SummerSlam, you could do KO and Sami Zayn versus the Usos for the tag titles. I'd be more than happy with that. That's what I'd like to see from it. That's more fantasy booking than what I think is going to happen, but I think it'd be awesome. So yeah, after we got this KO and Sami, I loved their chat about Elias, and then Sami agreed with him at first, saying, "Look, they're clearly the same person." Yeah. I love KO's reaction, just hugging him. He was like, "Oh my god, someone believes me." It's so good. But then they fall out. KO was basically calling Sami naive and that he's not in the bloodline. They were just really, really funny here. KO asked Sami to come to Raw, which he didn't do, but that's where I can see maybe that happening. You know, one of them coming to Raw, the other one going to SmackDown, helping each other out. And then later on,
it's definitely moving into the brand split going away.
Yeah, we could talk about that in a bit, particularly when we come to Raw, because that felt very much like that. And yeah, so afterwards, Sami Zayn approached Usos, didn't he? And they kind of said, "Yeah, you're an honorary member." Clearly bullshitting him, and just sort of tagging him along until the right moment, I think, and then they're gonna either beat Sami Zayn up or keep leaving him high and dry until Sami figures out himself that he's not part of the bloodline, which is a really entertaining storyline. I like it, but yeah, I think that would be. I think the seeds there were planted maybe for KO and Sami to come up against them together. I'd love that, especially if the brand split thing, people are crossing brands more often. It doesn't matter. I mean, Usos have got both belts anyway, so technically they can be on both shows. But obviously, Sami and KO are on different shows. But I don't think that's going to matter too much going forward, because I feel like you said, they're kind of watering down the brand split.
I have read that they are moving towards taking the brand split away. I think now the roster's so small, I honestly think it could work. I don't know if I want it to happen. I do enjoy a brand split because I think you end up with the same things then on both shows. If they get away from one will just be a repeat show of the other, basically.
Yeah. From what I've read, so that was rumored, but then it was sort of counteracted with, we're not doing away the brand split completely, but we're going to use certain people and the top people on both shows here and there, freshen it up, sprinkle it around. So KO going on SmackDown felt really cool, I thought. And in particular, we'll get to it when we go on Raw, but I don't ever remember seeing Shinsuke Nakamura on Raw before, because he's always been on SmackDown. He's never been drafted to Raw since he's been in WWE. So I felt like him coming on to Raw felt quite fresh, even though it was kind of weird, so I don't mind them doing that, but it kind of makes the brand split silly, but at the same time, it freshens the shows up, I guess.
Yeah, I think they need that now.
But I don't think they should completely drop it, because I think then if you end up with one women's title, for example, across both shows, that's just going to become very, I don't know, especially if they do away with the women's tag titles. Do you know what I mean? I think there'll be nothing going on. And one world champion, which we have at the moment, Roman Reigns, he's not even defending his title. And that's another thing we can mention here, really, was there wasn't much of a Roman Reigns presence on this show, was there?
Well, we know Roman Reigns has been reported to be having Hell in a Cell off. So I think they're almost moving him, Randy Orton as well, out of the picture to concentrate on the builds for Hell in a Cell, which I think in a way is good. Get some as much as Roman's amazing, get the focus on the people who are going to be in the pay-per-view, the premium live event even.
Yeah, that's fair enough, I suppose.
No point having him on telly in the build if he's not going to be there.
No. Right, let's move on to something else from this show. So we had a tag team match.
Yep.
Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser making his SmackDown debut against Ricochet and Drew Gulak.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool to see the former Marcel Bartel, Ludwig Kaiser.
He looked shredded. That's one thing I noticed.
He looked very shredded. Him and Gunther have definitely been putting the work in.
Yeah.
And
some good chemistry.
He looked awesome in this. He looked awesome in this match, and he actually got the win for the team as well. I expected him to tag in Gunther, but he didn't. He actually got the win in himself, which I thought was very interesting.
Gives him a bit of promotion, doesn't it?
Yes, and then they attacked Gulak and Ricochet after the match. So I think this is obviously leading to that match we talked about, the Gunther Ricochet Intercontinental title match.
It's a shame it's not going to be a Hell in a Cell.
Oh, it could be, because we have still got a SmackDown to go before. Yeah. At the moment, there are 6 matches on Hell in a Cell. There are no SmackDown matches, which is really weird. It's all Raw. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do add a SmackDown match or 2. Then again, I think Backlash only had 6 matches. So maybe they're sticking with that formula, because Raw, at the moment, Hell in a Cell has 6 matches. So maybe we won't get an extra one.
Next is Money in the Bank, isn't it? So
yeah,
next pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know what happens if they don't defend it here. I suppose they do occasionally put in a big match on SmackDown, so you never know. They could have him win. They could have the match and have him win.
Yeah.
Unless they want to build it to Money in the Bank.
I think they'll just do it on SmackDown, but I wouldn't mind seeing it, because you've got the US title for a change on Hell in a Cell. I wouldn't mind them doing the same with the Intercontinental title. So
yeah, especially since the heavyweight's not being defended.
Yeah, and only one of the women's titles as well. So
since we're talking about the women's title, should we segue onto Raquel versus Rousey, which was supposed to be a championship contender match, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I wonder, we were getting this again. The first match was really, really good between the two. Raquel looked really strong. So I was kind of looking forward, I suppose, to a second match. But we didn't really get that in the end. No. So before the match, we had Shotzi kind of rally in the SmackDown locker room against Raquel, saying, we need to do something about this. To Xylee, Aaliyah, Natalya, Shayna Baszler, they're all there. And then Shotzi ends up getting locked in the room by Aaliyah again.
I don't mind that. That's quite funny.
That was a funny little bit to stop Shotzi doing it. And Shotzi was really playing into that on Twitter. She was tweeting like, they've all left me in the building. There's no lights on. Help me. It's like she was locked in there all night. Obviously she wasn't. But yeah. But Natalya and Shayna then come down to the ring, didn't they? And caused a very early DQ, but then we got a tag team match instead. Which was okay.
Yeah, it was okay, wasn't it?
Yeah, they didn't play into Ronda and Shayna too much. And I know Keeney in particular, and I've said it as well, wants that Ronda-Shayna feud. They did have a stare off.
We're going to get it. I don't think we're going to get it.
No. And the fact that Shayna took the pin here as well.
Yeah, not even from Ronda.
No.
It was from Raquel.
From Raquel. I get it. They want to build Raquel. But I would have had Raquel pin Natty, and then you could have done Raquel versus Ronda for the title because she's beaten somebody. And then down the line, you can still do Shayna and Ronda. They did tease it a little bit with the stare down here, but they didn't actually get physical, did they? No. It was broken up very, very quickly. But yeah, it was okay, but it was just a bit disappointing they didn't give Raquel the full match against Ronda again. But I guess
we don't like championship contender matches.
No, we don't like them anyway. I wasn't too bothered in the end, and I guess this is it's probably actually a better way to build up Raquel for Ronda, teaming her with her instead. It's just a shame that Shayna Baszler was on the other end of it, I suppose.
Unfortunately, I think that's the position she's in now, which is a shame. But you never know; it might change in the future. I think maybe onto a top mark of mine.
Yeah, there's only a couple of other things from the show, but if you want to go to the top mark,
well, I think why not? So it actually started the show. So we had an Usos promo, and this felt so real, so unscripted. I thought they were choking up. I think, well, to be honest, I think it was real, the things they were saying, the way where they were coming across saying, thank you, we've been here for this long, we can't believe we're still here.
12 years since they debuted.
But they really play. I mean, just the promo anyway was absolute fire.
It just showed how good Jay is. I thought, because he was the one doing that bit, and then it was Jimmy that turned it around into the psych.
Although I thought Jimmy sold, as if he like couldn't talk because he would cry.
I honestly thought
this
they were making
feels so real.
I thought they were making some sort of weird announcement because they were thanking everyone for being there for 12 years. I was like,
Yeah, I agree. I thought they were going to go or something.
I thought, are they dropping the titles? Like they've just won them, and they're going to like be like, no, like one of us is really badly injured. Like I did buy it for a little bit.
Oh, I bought it. They tricked me all the way until they said they needed nobody, and then decided laughing at everybody.
Yeah,
getting some serious heel heat. But man, that promo was incredible.
Especially seeing us, because we see these Bloodline promos a lot, but normally it's normally carried by Paul Heyman or Roman.
Yeah,
normally they do a lot of the talking. You might get Jay or Jimmy do one line. Here they were out there on their own.
Yeah,
and they were awesome.
I think it helps that they were speaking from the heart, wasn't they? They did mean what they said, even though they played it as a heel. They definitely meant what they said.
Yeah.
But yeah, definite top mark for me. A different top mark, giving it to the Usos for a promo. I don't think that's ever occurred on Recharge Wrestling.
Probably not. No.
An Usos match, definitely, but not a promo. So, yeah, awesome. Yeah, great way to open it up and get some more heat on them.
Yeah, and that led, of course, to Shinsuke Nakamura interrupting in the end.
Yeah.
And then he said him and his partner wanted to challenge him. The Usos say, well, we injured Rick Boogs. You haven't got a partner. And then, of course, it's Riddle. And then they had a little brawl with Riddle and Nakamura standing tall to set up a number one contenders or championship contenders match on Raw, which we'll get to in a minute. But before we segue onto that, just want to talk quickly about a very random tag team match between Los Lotharios versus Jinder Mahal and Shanky.
Yeah.
So Los Lotharios are waiting in the ring. Jinder's music hits. They don't come out. I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then it cuts to backstage. Jinder can't find Shanky, and he's dancing to the theme song. So we've got dancing Shanky.
I can't lie. I actually quite like this Shanky.
It gave him a bit of personality, at least. He's not so.
I found it funny, and then the fact that he started. Well, at the end, we had Garza dancing, didn't we, in front of
so they were trying to impress Samantha Irvin.
That's it.
The ring announcer.
And then Shanky started.
Garza did his pants off thing, his trousers off.
I'm glad he's still doing his pants off.
And then
from NXT, that was my favourite part.
Well, it fits their gimmick anyway, with their kissing and all that.
Yeah.
And then so Shanky ended up dancing, but then Jinder was annoyed because him sort of messing about cost them.
We're going to get a mid-card feud there.
I don't really see the point in splitting up Jinder and Shanky, if I'm being honest. It's not Corbin.
I actually think I'd quite like them having a bit more of a presence on screen if they're going to do this sort of thing. I'd quite like Jinder to be the serious one. It's worked before. I mean, if you think like Drake Maverick and I've forgotten his tag partner was. It was in NXT.
Oh, Killian Dane.
Killian Dane and Drake Maverick.
Yeah.
That was a good tag team because you had the serious.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to that, I suppose. Yeah,
I'd love that sort of thing. If he's going to carry on doing this, but they win matches because of his sort of like clumsiness or something, I think that could be quite a good duo. But yeah, I did enjoy it just for that, and the match is pretty good, to be fair.
Yeah, it was decent enough. It was Los Lotharios always look good in the ring. In my opinion.
They are really good.
Just one other little thing to note: there was the appearance of Max Dupree again. He's officially on SmackDown now, and I haven't written much notes on this because I can't remember exactly what he said. But he only had a couple of lines, but I was like, oh my god, he's so good. That's all I've written down. Like just him talking.
He is good,
and it seems like we're going to get some of his clients being revealed in the next couple of weeks. I'm sure Mace is going to be. Mace is definitely going to be one of them because he's been working a lot with Mace in dark matches. So I'm intrigued to see where it goes.
I just hope he doesn't get wasted. Just give him some time, give him a chance on the mic, and then occasionally in the ring. He doesn't have to be in the ring all the time, but I'd be surprised if they didn't use him in the ring just because he looks the part, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, excited.
Even if it's every now and then, like they did with Ludwig Kaiser here, like they put him in. He's been just introducing Gunther every week, and I thought, is he not going to wrestle? But then he wrestled, so hopefully they do similar stuff there. Let's move on to Raw then. Yeah. Where should we start? We might as well start with the opener, which also led to a match later on. But
Yeah.
So Becky Lynch opens the show. Good promo about giving Asuka a title, showed some clips and some stuff. I loved her line where she said she's fueled on spite and coffee. I found that relatable. I was like, me
I
too.
think it's all at reach out. Actually, especially on this podcast. Me and you.
Yeah, Keeney's not a coffee man, but
Spite
me and you.
coffee.
Yeah, spite and coffee. That's how you fuel. And I love that
by
line.
listening to or watching the Recharge Wrestling podcast. That's how you recharge at least.
Yeah. That's how.
Little plug there on my own show.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
So then eventually Asuka interrupted that, and then a typical WWE opening promo. They all come out. Bianca makes her way down to the ring as well. She says the title's not going anywhere. Nice little promo from Bianca. They have a little brawl, and it ends up with Asuka and Bianca kind of getting Becky out of the ring. And then after the break, we got Bianca versus Asuka. And when I knew this match was happening, I was like, oh no, why are they doing this? Because this is one of those scenarios where you've got a triple threat match at the pay-per-view, and you're putting two of the people in it in a match, which for me is never a good idea, because that means either it's obviously going to be a DQ, which is what I expected. It wasn't, but I expected Becky to just get in the ring and beat them both up. Or one of them has got to lose before the pay-per-view, which I'm also not a fan of.
Yeah.
I would have rather than had like Asuka versus someone like Tamina and put Belair and Becky on commentary and just have Asuka have a nice win, building her up. Belair and Becky on a commentary, and then they have a fight after or something like that. But no, they had to put Belair and Asuka against each other.
The thing is, I like it because it's not the norm to have somebody pinned cleanish.
Well, it ended up being a roll up, didn't it?
Yeah. But
which is, I guess it doesn't mean anything, but I just wouldn't have put the match in the first place.
It's difficult to know now, because in typical WWE fashion, you'd say that the person who got the one up would be the one that lost at the pay-per-view, but you had Becky standing tall at the end. Oscar getting the pin. So does that mean Oscar's winning?
I get it. I get that. It's
difficult, isn't it? But I really think a big title out will be held till SummerSlam.
Yeah, because she got a manhandle slam, didn't she, to Bianca in the end? One thing I did notice is one of Becky's lines on commentary, she called herself a wizard.
Yeah.
And I was like, Chris Jericho, where are you?
Well, she did a great tweet, actually. I don't know if you saw it.
I don't think I've seen this.
She tweeted saying no beef to Jericho or something like that.
Did she?
She's hilarious.
I thought it was odd when she called herself that. I was like, wait a minute. Jericho's been doing that every week.
She did tag him and saying no beef or something like that.
Oh, right. Fair enough then. Fair enough. But yeah, this was okay. It wasn't the best setup for the Hell in a Cell match.
I thought it was a good match, though. I thought it was a brilliant match.
The match itself was good. I mean, it's Bianca Belair and
I think it's going to be
can't really be bad.
Pay-per-view.
I think it will be a great match. That's the thing with some of these matches. We said, remember Backlash? The build to it wasn't particularly good, but the matches when they come around were really, really good. Yeah. And I think with a few of these, we're going to get the same thing here. Although there's been one match that's been built brilliantly. The rest of the card's just been a bit average. But I think when we get to it, the whole card will be really good.
Yeah. Do you want to go on to talk about that match? Because I think I can guess what it is.
Yeah, well, I might as well go on to it because it's the other top mark. So we're getting very... we're putting our positives in. And you can probably guess what it is. I think a lot of people love this week. The Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins segment was fantastic.
Madness.
So it starts off, Cody comes down. He cuts a fairly standard promo. But I like the fact he talked about Dusty and how much he rated Seth Rollins in NXT, because that's a well-known thing that he was one of his biggest mentors. But when it get really, really good was when Seth come out. And what made it better was Seth didn't just come out through down the ramp. He came through the crowd, out through the crowd. The crowd were then more into it because he was in with them. And the promo Seth cut was probably the best promo of this feud so far, in my opinion, purely because he used references from AEW, which I've been waiting for them to do.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't like it when they reference the other shows pointlessly.
Not if they play him down, yeah.
Like if when WWE wrestler gets released, turns up on Dynamite, and then just starts slagging off WWE, and it's not related to his feud, I hate that.
Yeah.
But when it plays into the story and the character, and it makes sense, that's when I like it. And here, Seth basically said, "You left, you joined your other friends, you tried to tear what I built down here, you failed, so you come running back."
Yeah.
Not untrue. He also said about you can't take a sledgehammer to a throne and then come back and try and take my throne or whatever. Word for word, not word for word what he said, but I just thought these lines were brilliant.
And that was a reference to in 2019 at Double or Nothing when Cody smashed the throne, didn't he, with a sledgehammer, sort of attacking Triple H almost.
Yes.
Very clever promo. And I guess sort of Cody would have said, yeah, go for it, because he knows how much fire this is going to be.
Absolutely. And then I thought, okay, this is a great promo, and you know, where is it going to move from this? But then Cody kind of challenges Seth to come down to the ring. Seth starts going towards the ring, backs out when he gets to the barricade, starts his little laugh. But then they just brawl through the crowd, a brilliant brawl.
It went on for ages.
Smashes into the barricade, round the ring.
Three times so personal now, doesn't it?
Yeah, and
this honestly feels like a mimic almost, but different enough to make it interesting of Edge Seth last year.
Yeah. And this now feels really personal. Three pull-apart brawls. Curtis Axel was out there trying to pull them apart. Didn't know if you've noticed him.
I didn't even know he was still there, to be honest.
He's back working as a producer, a tryout as a producer, so he's working behind the scenes. And he was one of the guys. A couple of, I think Maria Davari might have been there as well. There's a couple of guys that are working behind the scenes come out here. I was like, oh, Curtis Axel's back on TV. They were trying to all separate them. And yeah, they had a really good brawl, and this is a perfect setup for a Hell in a Cell match. And I just thought this whole thing, the crowd even charted, "This is awesome," which you don't normally get on a segment. You normally get that in matches. You don't even get it in matches that often on Raw, but you know, generally as a rule, you get it.
It was so exciting, wasn't it?
Like, it was a great brawl.
These sections feel quite cheesy where they're brawling, being pulled apart. But this just felt like a proper fight. Yeah, like they really hated each other.
Yeah,
this
is really well done.
To finish it off for me by getting Seth to beat Cody, because it would be such a shock. It's too obvious if he wins. That'll be my only problem with this the whole thing from Cody coming to WrestleMania has been perfect. The only issue I have with it is Seth losing 3 times in a row if he loses here. So let's see what happens there. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Cannot wait for the match.
Yeah, and I think it's going to main event because I'm pretty sure it's the only match inside the cell as well. So it's going to make it special.
In all honesty, if you put a belt on the line, I still think this is it means more. I still think it does.
Yeah, because I think you've got the women's. Obviously, the women's match is a big deal, the triple threat. But this match is big.
It's a big deal, but this just feels huge, and it's been building since WrestleMania. So.
Yeah, I think it's got a main event, the show.
And this is the crowd. This got to be the crowd favourite, surely.
Yeah, and it's the first time as well. It'll be the first time Cody Rhodes has ever main evented a pay-per-view on his own in a one-on-one.
So which match is quickly in
WWE?
Hell in a Cell then? Which ones are in Hell in a Cell? So we've got Cody versus Seth.
Just Cody and Seth at the moment.
Is that it?
The women's match hasn't been announced as one.
That makes it even bigger, doesn't it?
I thought the Omos match was going to be, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it is or not.
So should we talk about that then?
Yeah, let's move on to that. So that was actually the main event segment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which felt a bit.
I was quite
weird.
Surprised about that.
I think they should have done the Cody Seth thing at the end of the show.
Yeah, I think so.
Personally, but they to be fair, they quite often put Cody on early so that people watch, because people don't watch the end of Raw, and we do, but there's a lot of people that don't. They switch off.
That's crazy. Hour. I can't imagine not. How dare you not watch to the end?
Yeah. Oh, I guess, you know, it's...
Or don't watch to the end and then listen and watch Recharge Wrestling to find out what happens.
Yeah. So it's a contract signing, which is a very overdone idea in WWE, really, as a whole. I got annoyed with the fans here. I didn't really rate the fans that much, apart from that Cody segment where they were cool. I didn't like the fans too much on this show, and they were... MVP actually got quite a good promo, but they were just doing the what chants at him. And I was just like, just shut up and listen to MVP.
What?
And so this ended up with security coming in, getting thrown around everywhere. Cedric Alexander jumped in to try and attack Lashley, which he keeps doing. That distracted Lashley enough for Omos and MVP to take advantage, beat him down, but it ended with Lashley overcoming that. And then he ended up spearing Omos through a table. Didn't he? And that's how the show went off the air, which was fine as a closing shot. But I don't know if it made me more interested or less. So the stipulation as well that was obviously revealed this week is it's a 2-on-1 handicap match. What do you make of that?
I think it almost takes away from Omos because Omos didn't really lose fairly in the cage because Lashley just sort of fell out of the cage and
MVP even said that himself. Yeah.
So I don't know why he needs two people to beat Lashley. It just takes. I think it just takes it away from Omos. But I guess if Lashley overcomes this, that shows he is incredibly. Yeah. He's a beast, isn't he? Really. I'm in two minds here because, again, I shouldn't probably think like this all the time, but Omos went through the table, which is the going home show piece. So. Really, he probably should get the upper hand. And to be honest, I don't think there's any shame in Lashley losing in a 2-on-1 scenario.
No.
I think it could be quite a good match, to be fair.
The thing is, you know as well, if Lashley does win, he's pinning MVP. He's not going to pin Omos. So,
no.
But then what does that really do for either man?
I don't even see where this is going to go after. It's almost like the feud needs to end here, but I don't really know how you could carry on or end this now. So yeah, it was a pretty good segment, but I'm not hugely into this.
No, I'm not. I'm not really.
It's good, but I'm not.
I liked it up till sort of when MVP joined Omos. I thought it was a good idea, and I thought that. But now I'm a bit bored of it. I'd like to see Lashley move on to something else.
The Cedric stuff is okay. I'd rather see him wrestling properly. Then again, I don't think Omos needs extra people. He's been built so
I get
strong.
that it's the idea of Cedric Alexander's desperately trying to impress MVP to get back in his good books. I get that that's kind of the story layer. It's not really about Omos in that sense, but
yeah,
at the same time, Omos is getting help from MVP, help from Cedric Alexander, and he doesn't really need it.
No.
So let's move on to something else. So we got the Mysterios and Ezekiel in a 6-man tag team match against the Alpha Academy and Kevin Owens. This was all right, I suppose. Some nice teamwork by Mysterios and Ezekiel. They did like a triple drop kick at one point to knock Otis out of the ring.
Yeah, that was cool, actually.
I thought Ezekiel actually looked pretty good in this match. Rey Mysterio went for a 619 on Kevin Owens, but he missed it. KO hit a super kick. But then Rey dodged it and it hit Gable. So that meant they could do a double 619 to Gable. And then Ezekiel hit his finisher and they won. Obviously, we're getting a one-on-one match between Owens and Ezekiel at the pay-per-view. Ezekiel got the win here. I loved Kevin Owens getting annoyed afterwards of going over to the commentary table and throwing the papers around because he was so annoyed. I like that. Was a bit confused with this match. I was a bit puzzled why Veer wasn't involved with the Mysterios because that's who he's been feuding with. But other than that, it was okay.
Yeah, to be honest, this match, I don't have too much to add. I can't lie, I'm getting a bit bored of Ezekiel already.
I like it, but I think the story needs to move forward now. I'm hoping at the pay-per-view something... I mean, I was listening to another podcast earlier as predictions for Hell in a Cell, and they were talking about where this feud can go. And I think KO's got to be proven right about Ezekiel that he is a liar somehow, or they do something crazy. And I've mentioned it before, and they bring in another person to play Elias.
That would be quite funny.
Or they do the guitar strum and it distracts KO, and then Ezekiel beats KO that way. Not that I want KO to lose this. I think he should win. Because he's lost a couple of matches. I think he should be beating a mid-card guy like Ezekiel, who's never going to be a top guy, really. He's a comedy mid-card guy. So it's interesting to see where they go at this pay-per-view. If they just do a normal match and KO or Ezekiel win, and then it continues the feud, I've had enough of it. I don't think it should go any further now. I want to see KO move on to something a little bit more.
I like your idea. Yeah, I like your idea about Sami Zayn tag team. That's where I'd like him to go, I think.
Yeah, I think that would make the most sense at the moment. And then it gives KO and Sami direction going into SummerSlam and Money in the Bank and beyond. Unless KO is in line to win Money in the Bank, but I don't think that's going to happen, or Sami. So, yeah, that was okay. What else did we have? We had Alexa Bliss versus Dewdrop. So that's a fresh match we've not seen before, at least. Nikki ASH ringside with Dewdrop, and Dewdrop just got beaten very easily by Alexa Bliss.
That's the thing. I like the fact we're getting a fresh match, and I love the fact we got Alexa Bliss back. I think she's brilliant in ring and on the mic. The thing I'm not so keen on is we had Dewdrop a couple of months back being almost like an unstoppable force. She was very difficult to beat for the likes of Bianca, Becky, and suddenly she's just almost getting not squashed, but she's not putting up much of a fight against Alexa Bliss.
Alexa didn't get a lot of offense in here. So Dewdrop was actually dominating quite a bit at the start, throwing her power around. And then Alexa did like 3 moves and beat her. And it was like, okay, that's not great when she's twice her size. Alexa's quite small. So yeah, and I get Alexa Bliss is the person you're pushing here. And I think she may be in line. They might be racking her wins up so that she can face the champion soon, or maybe she's going to win Money in the Bank or something like that. But so I get what they're doing with Alexa, but yeah, from Dewdrop's point of view,
well, they did notice. I did notice they did a video package of Alexa winning the Money in the Bank.
They did, and yes, they did. That was
She was brilliant when she cashed in that same evening. She was a great champion too.
Yeah, well, that was probably her peak, her best character when she first came in it, and she had the run on SmackDown, the feud with Becky Lynch, and bringing in Mickey James.
Match, I always remember
all that stuff. That was fantastic. Then the later run on Raw with the feud that's cash in, like you say, and all that kind of stuff. And then even the team with Nikki was decent, but after that, it's all gone very strange. I'm glad she's kind of getting back to her old ways, at least. It feels like. The next segment, I don't know what to say about this next segment. It was very strange. I nearly skid marked it, but I'm not going to because there's something else I want to skid mark.
Oh, he's stacking the skids.
It's the Miz TV segment. Now, the Miz TV bit itself, I really liked. So you had Miz come down, promote Miz and Mrs. That was all this was there for. But there was absolutely no point to any of this segment. His guests are the Street Profits, which is random.
I enjoyed that bit. I found that quite fun.
I enjoyed this bit too.
They're so good.
There was no purpose to it, but it was funny because they had good chemistry.
Yeah,
they wouldn't let the Miz get a word in. They asked them. They were talking about Hell in a Cell, talking about the matches. They asked Miz what he thinks, and they went, "It doesn't matter what you think." Like The Rock. That bit was cool. I really popped for that bit. Then all of a sudden, this is when it took a turn. I was thinking, okay, this segment's great, but what is the point in it? Where's it going? Then Dana Brooke starts coming down. I'm like, oh no.
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
Time.
So they interrupted this with a 24/7 segment. I'm glad the Miz was just like, I'm leaving then, because he didn't want anything to do with the 24/7 stuff.
Yeah.
But the Street Profits sat there and watched it and got a bit involved randomly. They weren't that involved in it, but yeah, then it just turned into chaos. So you had Dana Brooke come down. Tozawa came in. T-Bar, for some reason, was there. Took out Tozawa at the start. Apollo was there as well. Feel bad for him. This is what he's sunk to now. And it ended with them all sort of brawling. And then it ended up being a brawl between Dana and Tamina.
Tamina. Ain't
That's
nobody meaner.
That's their tag team name.
Ain't nobody meaner.
And then... yeah, so they end up having a bit of a fight. Tamina wins, pins her. And then we got the Tozawa kiss thing again, which I thought we were done with. And then again, the betrayal. And then we got the betrayal thing straight away, which we've done like 3 times with Reggie already. And then Tozawa won the title and walked off. And I don't understand what the point of any of this was. This was filler. This was the filler section of the show. And I'll get to it in a minute. But there was some chants that I haven't heard in a long time at a WWE show. I was talking about the crowd when we got to the next match, because I think the crowd were getting a bit bored with this segment and what came next, which is part of my skid mark. So should I just move on to that?
Yeah, I think so. I want you to. Yeah, I'm interested to see what it is now.
So the skid mark isn't necessarily the segment itself. It's the fact we got two similar booking things here. So
I didn't notice this, so I might get it when you say it. But
you were. I think you'll agree with me when when I explain what I felt. So we got Ali versus Ciampa first of all.
yeah,
Which was kind of predictable. Theory was on commentary. The match itself between the two, by the way, was really good. There was a really nice dive on Ali where he proper took Ciampa out at one point. It looked really good. Theory predictably attacked Ali, causing the DQ. What I kind of liked about this is it was a championship contenders match where for some reason Ciampa didn't get a title shot, but Ali did if he won. So Theory then attacked him so that he won and he got a title shot, but he made him have the match straight away, didn't he? So and he beat Ali up like really a lot. Ali had the match, tried to get into it, tried to rally, but then Theory eventually beats him. Pierce came down and said, "Look, Vince McMahon wants you to have a fair fight." So positive thing, we're getting the United States Championship match between Theory and Ali.
I was pleased about that
at Hell in a Cell, which I think is great. Really, really pleased with that. But a bit of a messy way to get there. But then, not only that, so after this, the next match was Usos versus Riddle and Nakamura.
Yeah.
And again, the match was okay. But again, it was caused a DQ to get a title shot. So do you see where I'm coming from with my skid mark? So,
again, it's I saw some snaps the other day of like non-finishes and DQs and things.
We went really bad on this show. We had roll-ups, 2 DQs. We had all sorts going on here.
They overbook it, don't they, sometimes?
But what annoys me is they're doing here. They did 2 DQs to get title matches.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy.
That's crap.
You'd think they'd look at it and go, "Hang on a minute."
The Theory one made sense in a way.
Because, Theory's definitely made sense.
But then I don't think they needed to do that with Riddle and the Usos. They had one. I don't know if it's Jimmy or Jay. One of them hit him with the scooter.
That bit looked savage. I didn't mind the scooter, but I don't like the fact they're getting the title shot because of it.
Yeah, exactly. Just have Riddle pin Jimmy Uso. Like it's not, or Nakamura, whichever. But I know they've lost a fair few times to Usos, but honestly, it wouldn't have done them much harm. Or here's a better idea: put Riddle and Nakamura against another tag team on the roster.
Yeah,
and have them beat them. Have them beat the Street Profits or somebody for a number one contenders match.
Defo. I think it's a bit odd to randomly throw them in a title match this quickly anyway.
Yeah, I get the Riddle. They've both got beef with the Bloodline, so I kind of get them teaming up. But
teaming up, yes, but getting a title match, not this early on, in my opinion. Should have. They almost left it too late, I think, to start this feud.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they were planning I don't know if the Orton time off for injury was planned or not. I don't know if that came suddenly.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It may have been, but I'm not sure. But yeah, that's my skid mark, doing 2 DQ finishes to set up title matches.
I can't deny that at all.
That's a pretty poor way to do it. One other thing from Raw then was Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. And one thing I loved about this is before this, we got the announcement of a 6-person mixed tag team match for Hell in a Cell, which I think we've all been looking forward to, haven't we?
This is going to be great. The only thing that could make this better is putting it in a cell.
Yeah.
I'd love that. It just feels right because it seems pretty intense, this feud. I am really enjoying it. This actually is going perfectly for me. I'm really enjoying it. Liv got the, apart from Liv getting a roll-up win.
Yeah, so two roll-up finishes in the women's matches as well.
Yeah, roll-ups are not great. I suppose it keeps Judgment Day strong, really. They actually got the better of Judgment Day this time, didn't they? So, which has been quite rare. Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Is that what they call in themselves? What are they calling themselves?
They're not calling. They've not mentioned the Bullet Club, but they do the Too Sweet and everything.
Too Sweet.
I don't think they actually have a name yet. I'm guessing because I don't think it's a long-term thing, and we'll get to that when we talk about predictions and stuff down the line.
Oh,
but. I don't think this is long for
before Balor joins Judgment Day.
Well, even Balor joins. Yeah, I think. I mean, spoiler for my predictions, but I think the pay-per-view, either Balor's going to turn or someone else is going to join Judgment Day and help them win.
Yeah.
I don't see where else this goes, because I think there's definitely someone else going to join Judgment Day at this show. I think someone is, whether it's Balor, whether it's AJ, or someone outside. I'd like it to be Ciampa, because my God, he was wasted on this show.
The fact he was makes me think he's probably not going to be. I'd have kept him off TV, I think.
He would have been better off, yeah, probably. But it's very interesting. The match itself between Liv and Rhea was pretty good. And yeah, I like the after angle. So Priest came in and stepped up to Liv, didn't he? But then Balor came down, and then they all hit the finishers, which was really cool. And that's about it, really, from
That's
Raw.
It for Raw, isn't it?
So let's talk about
NXT.
everyone's
NXT.
favourite show, NXT 2.0.
I mean, you make that sound like we don't like it.
No, we are fair to it, but I know there's a lot. When I say everyone's favourite show, I think it's just generally people are a bit skiddy on NXT. They don't
skiddy.
It's the amount of people that I see, I know, or watch that don't watch NXT anymore, or just don't care about NXT anymore, is amazing compared to like.
No, I think this had some banging wrestling on it. To be fair,
it has still got good wrestling on it. I think it's more the presentation that's the problem.
Not as dark.
Yeah, there's just too many silly gimmicks, isn't there? And
yeah, I think there is quite a lot. Yeah, but it's,
some of them are good. Though. I like some of them. Don't get me wrong. I like some of them.
I think the problem when you didn't have, I was way against it, at the start. But now I realise they're using it. They're not. Come away from the third brand. It's a training area.
Yeah,
I think
it's not a super indie anymore. It's it's a genuine development brand.
I think the problem you had was people were coming up to the main roster, brilliant in ring, great wrestlers, but they weren't any good on the microphone because they just wasn't used to it. They didn't have as much of a character. So you had absolutely fantastic. And unfortunately, I think if you don't have people try these sort of characters out, you don't get the story building that they want on Raw and SmackDown, and then they get dropped. So you get some fantastic people coming up to the main roster, and they just can't make it work.
I get it. It's probably for the better.
Wasted, but
I get it. It's probably for the better in the long term. It's just
that doesn't mean I agree with it, but I see.
Yeah.
Just because, we know what we like. Gargano versus Ciampa, Savage match.
So. The show started with an old NXT guy in a match, actually, in Roderick Strong.
I can't believe he's still around and still actually wrestling properly as well.
He teamed here with Damon Kemp against the tag team champions, Pretty Deadly.
Yeah.
This match was pretty good. I
thought it was awesome.
Damon Kemp impressed me quite a lot when he was in the ring. The crowd were into him as well. I forgot to mention, I've just realised I was going to talk about the crowd chant. They're bloody chanting CM Punk, weren't they? That's what
really.
During the match, that's what I thought was funny. I haven't heard that in a long time. Anyway, back to NXT. Strong, so Strong and Kemp here looked really good.
They looked a really smooth team, actually. I did enjoy it.
But they ended up losing so there's a bit of confusion. So Pretty Deadly distraction with the belt. They went to hit Roddy. He moved out of the way. Julius Creed on the outside got hit with a belt.
Yeah.
And then that led to Pretty Deadly hitting their finisher, the Spilt Milk on.
I like that.
Yeah, Spilt Milk is a bit of a weird name.
Spilt Milk. I do
almost
like
it. It's almost as weird as sliced bread.
Spilt Milk, man. Who does sliced bread?
Brian Kendrick used to do it. There's a couple of other guys who used to do it.
Bread.
Yeah, it's a weird
Spilt Milk, man. It's quite a cool finisher though. I do like it.
Yeah, it's a cool finisher. It's just got a weird name. So they pinned Roddy to win.
They pinned Roddy, which I think is a bit of the he's maybe leaving thing. So
this is interesting. So this led to the segment later on. So Roddy was really angry with the Creeds, and he said if they don't win on Saturday at Takeover, they are out of Diamond Mine. So I don't know if you've done your NXT, but I've done my predictions for NXT now. I don't know if you've done yours yet, but I might as well say what mine is because it's out
say your
there.
prediction. I'll see if it matches mine.
So my prediction is that the Creed brothers are actually going to win.
Okay.
And they are going to kick Roddy out somehow.
I was going to say that I think they're going to kick Roddy out, but I think this could happen either way. I think
could
you
happen
could
either
have
way.
them lose, and then the rest of Diamond Mine say, "No, we're not
Yeah,
leaving." Then they sort of stand by the side, and that's Roddy's bye-bye.
yeah,
Off to AEW you go.
probably, yeah, yeah.
That's the only reason. I mean, what else would he want to leave?
No, yeah, no. It's just whether WWE actually releases him from his contract because they turned it down originally, but what they might be doing here is using this as a story to get Roddy to leave in a proper way, tie this up, have him put over the Creeds on the way out or something like that. But it's interesting. It's certainly the stipulation made me more interested in this match. It's going to be a good match anyway. I think the Creed brothers are really good. They're pretty deadly, are good as well. So it's a good match, but this makes it more interesting, I think.
Definitely.
What else did we got? We got a business negotiation. I was going to say the business negotiation first between Tony D'Angelo and Legado del Fantasma. So they've agreed to have a 6-man tag team match at the pay-per-view. So that...
Sorry, I said Lopez, and for some reason, my Amazon device, I'm not going to say
started playing J-Lo.
Just started telling me random facts about Lopez. I was like, what is happening? So yeah, sorry about that.
I wonder what you were doing because you suddenly muted. I could see you like doing something. Yeah.
I don't even know what he was saying. It was really loud as well. So yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right. So they agreed to do a 6-man tag team match. And again, interesting stipulation with this. So the losing crew has to join the other team under their leadership. So whichever team loses, they're going to be sort of controlled by the other one, which makes it interesting. And I honestly don't know who's going to win either.
No, I don't. It's going to be very interesting, isn't it? It's going to be a good match. It's going to be an absolute scorcher, I reckon.
It is good. I think the two... They're inexperienced, those two, with Tony D, but they looked okay on their debut. And all of Legado del Fantasma are fantastic. So I think it'll be a good match. I think the matches, again, they look good here. Like, this will be a good show. I just think the way it's presented, people are a bit, not happy with... I mean, the main event stuff I don't like. I will say that. But other than that, I don't think it's too bad. So you were going to say about Cora Jade versus Elektra Lopez.
I didn't have too much to say for it, just the fact that Cora Jade's been put over again. Elektra Lopez has lost again.
She always does lose, doesn't she?
Yeah. But I mean, the match was okay. Nothing special, but Cora Jade's just getting some momentum, isn't she? She's so over with the crowd now. And to be honest, she's won me over somewhat. I can see she's training hard, which is what I wanted to see. Whereas originally it was just as if they threw her in, no training, roll everyone up, that's it. But you can see she's trying new things. So she's won me over.
So we got then a Roxanne Perez video package. We got one for Tiffany later on because they're facing each other in the final.
Quite excited for that match.
Yeah, not at the pay-per-view, weirdly. I thought it might be, but it's not. And I thought the video package for Roxanne was actually really, really good. Mm-hmm. Really showed her passion for wrestling and her background and everything. I thought it was really, really interesting. The Tiffany one as well was quite good later on. I think they built that match relatively well. And then we got Wesley versus Zion Quinn. So Sanga gave Wesley a little pep talk before the match. There was a crazy lawn dart in this match by Zion, which looked mental. But Wesley ended up sneaking a win with a roll-up.
It was weird because I was actually typing in my notes, Wesley is being used just to get destroyed, and then he won.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, here we go. Which I'm glad about, to be fair. I thought it was a bit of a shame if he was just getting wrecked every week.
Yeah. Zion Quinn feels a bit directionless, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
But I do think they obviously like Wesley. I thought when Nash Carter got released, he was going to be in trouble because you see it with tag teams all the time. If one gets hurt or injured or released or whatever, the other guy just doesn't get pushed or gets completely ignored. But I'm glad they haven't done that with Wes, and he's on TV every week. He's winning some matches, he's losing some, but yeah, there's story there at least for him, which I like. And maybe he can be like an underdog babyface that eventually wins like a North American title or something.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that. Or maybe he'll get a new tag team partner and win tag titles down the line again. But yeah, I think there's definitely some stuff from him to look forward to. We then got Joe Gacy. Now, this is the main event stuff that I'm talking about. I don't really like. He did a story about Bron Breakker's life. The promo itself was good, delivered well. I just don't care.
No, I agree.
And then the bit afterwards where Bron was being interviewed and they played some fake laughter into the thing, just looked corny and stupid. And yeah, I want this feud to be over. And I hope this is the last match we have between the two of them, to be honest, on Saturday. And hopefully Bron retains and moves on to something else.
Definitely. Yeah, that'd be great.
What else did we get? We got
Women's Championship Summit.
Yes, a Women's Championship Summit.
Toxic Attraction.
This was all right. Crowd were really into this, actually. I thought I don't know if they were really into it or they're just being loud over it for the sake of it, but there were some good promos here.
There's some good talking going on.
I thought Caden Carter cut a really good promo actually here. But eventually, obviously, it all got physical as it always does in these kind of segments.
Mandy Rose had a pretty savage promo against Wendy Chu, which in a way is kind of true. The thing she was saying about why would the fans want their champion to be from like a kids TV show or something like that and dressed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with her in that sense. No. I like Wendy Chu and I like her gimmick, but again,
not as champion.
like the Joe Gacy thing, opposite kind of gimmick, but it's not a championship title.
No.
Gimmick really. It's kind of like when Nikki ASH won the Raw Women's title. It's not a top level gimmick that's going to continue to be. It's better than that gimmick. Don't get me wrong, but it's not. It doesn't feel like it belongs in the title picture. Some really good dives from the outside by Caden and Katana.
They're very athletic, aren't they?
And then they all put Mandy Rose for a table at the end. Wendy doing a little dive. But Wendy's good in the ring as well. I do like her moves and stuff. But this segment was all right. But I don't care enough. That's the problem. I really like the tag. I'm into the tag team feud, I think. But I don't feel like there's a chance Wendy Chu beats Mandy Rose. I can't see it.
No chance.
So that's why I can't really get into it, I guess. Then we had Solo Sikoa versus Duke Hudson. Just a quick match, really, for Solo. I thought it would go a little bit longer, be a bit more challenging for him, but he beat Duke Hudson fairly convincingly.
Quick, didn't he? Yeah.
But Solo's, they're really building him to. I think he might end up being the next North American champion because he keeps saying he's got next after, doesn't he? But honestly, he could go up to the main roster now, and I don't think I'd bat an eyelid at him going up there and joining in the Bloodline. I feel like he's ready for it, honestly.
I think he'd be.
I think he's that good, and he could just go up there and be over automatically because you can't really not be if you're part of that. Then we got the Thea Hale choosing a university. She chose Chase U, which was a funny little segment, I guess. It was all right. And then we got Josh Briggs versus Grayson Waller, which was I was going to say a DQ finish, but it wasn't actually, was it? It was a distraction finish.
Yeah.
With Grayson Waller hitting his thing and then Von Wagner taking Briggs out afterwards. Again, is it a feud you care about much?
Not at all.
No. Same here. That's the problem. There's too much filler. Then we got something I did like, which was Ivy Nile versus Kiana James.
Yeah, this was cool.
I really like the sort of opposite storytelling here. Kiana James is the brainy one versus the strength and
giving some percentages of loss.
Yeah. And Kiana James looks okay in the ring.
She was good in the ring, yeah. I agree.
So I quite enjoyed this, and I really like Ivy Nile. I think she's got big potential.
She's brilliant, great potential, yeah.
So I quite like that match. That match was good. And then we got the main event, which was Nathan Fraser versus Cameron Grimes.
This was a banger.
Yeah, this was the best match on the show, probably.
Easily, yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Nathan Fraser impresses every week, doesn't he? He's awesome.
So good in ring. I just don't think his mic works there.
No, he's not got much of a character. But in the ring, he's like a ball of energy, flies around. He's very, very good.
Cameron Grimes is fantastic in general, isn't he?
yeah, and there wasn't much to this in terms of story. It was quite basic.
Just a good match.
Just a good match. Yeah,
Sometimes
Cameron
that's all
Grimes
you want.
was the cave in, and then the little attack afterwards from Cameron Grimes and not Cameron Grimes, Carmelo Hayes, sorry, and Trick Williams, who were on commentary. And that was it. That was the end of the show. I wouldn't say it was an amazing go-home show by any means, but there was some decent wrestling on it. A couple of good angles, a couple of good stipulations made for the matches at the pay-per-view. I wouldn't say I'm hugely looking forward to. And I think the thing is, I think if Hell in a Cell wasn't on Sunday, I'd be looking forward to this NXT show more.
Yeah.
I think with NXT there as well,
bundled into one weekend makes it difficult.
And we've just had a hugely long AEW show as well.
Yeah, crazily long.
It feels like so much in the moment that this NXT show kind of feels irrelevant, which isn't their fault in that sense. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
Definitely. Yeah, I think they need to move and separate them and make it feel a bit more special, I think. And they can hype it up on the main roster as well. They could be like, oh, NXT this weekend, whereas
I'm surprised they did do it because they haven't done them near Mania. I know they did the Mania one, but other than that, they haven't really been doing them next to pay-per-views, have they, recently?
No, they haven't had them in. Yeah, not at all. At one point, it was quite common, wasn't it? But
yeah, when it was like the proper big takeovers, and you'd get like before Money in the Bank or SummerSlam or all the big shows. But yeah, they haven't been doing it so much recently, so I was a little bit surprised that they did here. But I think that's it for NXT, and that would be it as well this week for the whole show, because like we said at the start, I will do a special AEW review this week. Like I say, I already did one for Double or Nothing, so check that out. We will probably be, I don't know what our plans are for the pay-per-views coming up, whether we're going to do specials for those or whether it'll be just a quick review of those as well. But we may do a special for Hell in a Cell. I don't think.
Yeah, we'll try get a Hell in a Cell one out, so keep an eye out for that for sure. Yeah, we'll try to get our prediction videos up. So there's going to be, again, just content after.
I think if we're doing a prediction, I think predictions, we might as well just do them as one video, NXT and Hell in a Cell together, honestly, because I don't see the point in doing two separate ones. But yeah, because I think the NXT one will only be like 2 minutes long, so I don't think we'll go into that much detail. And I've already put my predictions on Twitter. So is Keeney as well. So
cheeky.
We can do a Hell in a Cell predictions video, but just mention our NXT ones on it, I guess. But yeah, so follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle. Like and subscribe on this YouTube channel as well if you haven't already. We've got some great content. Keeney's like over halfway through his GM mode now. It's 50 weeks. GM mode. It's really good. I watch it every day without fail because I don't know what's going to happen each time. But they're short videos, but they're really good. If you enjoy that kind of content, gaming stuff, we probably have more at some point as well. Branch out and do some more stuff like that. But we've got predictions coming up, like we just mentioned. We've got Hell in a Cell review. We'll have our normal podcast back next week, and yeah, we'll see you then.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for watching.